Hey you guys, this is Paige.
And this is Monique.
And we are
Sacred Potential.
Sorry, we didn't do that at the same time as we usually do, but it's okay. Sacred Potential, we talk about the overlap of creativity, possibility, and spirituality.
Wow, you're mixing it up there.
I am mixing it.
That's nice.
I know, right?
That's nice. Wow. Breaking the routine.
That's what you have to do sometimes to break the routine, especially during this time of quarantine. Wow, that rhymed. Okay, what are we talking about today, Mo?
I told you her talents are endless. So today we're going to be talking about health, and specifically the question to you is, how do you stay healthy? And we're going to have a little conversation if you want to listen in on how we stay healthy. So that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, and hopefully even after you discover how we stay healthy, maybe you can give us some other tips, because there's never enough room for improvement. Sorry. Okay, so Mo, how do you stay healthy? How do you eat? Because I know you eat really clean, very well. So tell me, okay, let's go through a day. Today is Monday, but regardless of the day, you wake up in the morning and what do you do?
Oh. Yes. So first I watched this video, which we'll talk about more in future episode. But it's basically a video that gets me focused on what I want my life to be about. And it's very specific to me. And then I... the usual stuff people do in the morning. But then I have squeezed some lemon in some warm water, and that's the first thing I drink. And that when you do that, it flushes out your immune system, instantly flushes your system out, and creates
all the toxins.
It creates an alkaline environment in your body. And then I do yoga for about 20 minutes or so, sometimes 30. Then I have my quiet time, which involves reading scripture, journaling, prayer, and I just get spiritually connected first. That's the top priority for me. And journaling, it helps me to just get my thoughts out on paper and empty my head and everything that's swirling around in there, and just get it out, and that can be prayer. It can just be just unloading how I'm feeling. Okay. And if anybody is listening has ever read or done The Artist's Way, then it's the morning pages. And the morning pages can be anything that you want. But you basically write 3 pages every day, no matter what.
I think I've heard of this. Mm-hmm. But I think sometimes people call it different things. But maybe this is, because I think I've heard of it, but it was probably called something else. Again, I think people can take these same ideas, but just kind of translate it with their own titles or whatever. Yeah. But so it's 3 pages each day. Yeah, just kind of free flow stream of consciousness. I mean, it's really, just to get your thoughts out on paper. Nice. You can do anything you want with it. If you don't know what to write about, you can just write, I don't know what to write about. You can keep writing that until you think of something to write about. But usually it's more like the opposite. It's oh my gosh, there's so much in here, I need to get it out. Mm-hmm. And then I have my yerba mate tea, which is, it has matine in it, and I'm not... Was ist das?
Es ist ein, so ungefähr wie... Just kidding.
Ooh, do you hear that? Ooh, don't you love that? That's German for you guys that didn't know. All right, keep going, Mom.
Yeah, so I drink yerba mate, and yerba mate has matine in it, which is similar to caffeine, but it's supposed to not give you the jitters or whatever like caffeine does. But if you drink enough of it, you will get the jitters, let me tell you. Anyway, but it's from South America, and in South America, apparently people drink it the way they do coffee in other parts of the world.
Oh,
it's
really
kind of a tradition thing.
Okay.
And I basically, and usually I don't have anything to eat really before noon. Unless maybe around 11 sometime. I'll have fruit, and then I just have fruit.
Okay.
I love fruit. And then later, when most people are having lunch or their midday snack, whatever, that's when I'm having, I call it my lunch. I call it my breakfast at 3 or whatever. But I do a big smoothie bowl.
Okay.
With loads of amazingness.
Now, because I want to ask you more detail about the smoothie bowl, because I've certainly I've experienced one of your smoothie bowls, and those of you who do not know the Lord, you will become in contact with him once you've had one of our Smoothie Bowls. But until then, is there a particular reason why you don't have in the morning after you have your lemon water and then you have your koraskara tea? I can't remember the name.
Yerba mate.
There you go, yerba mate tea. Is there, so you just have fruit? Are you just not hungry, or is it something like with regards to your metabolism that you're like, I don't know, like what is the reason behind not having anything?
Yeah, I mean, nowadays they call it intermittent fasting, I guess. And I do it. I mean, I'm not like really, I just don't want to get like religious about it where it's like, I have to, because there was a point where I was trying to do that and I'm like, it just gets me too obsessed about what time is it and all that. But I do find that I feel better when I just give my body a rest longer, or my digestive system. Yeah. And also, years ago, I read a book called, I think it was called Fit for Life or whatever, and they talked about how, like, if you eat fruit in the morning, it's like the best thing to eat because it's the quickest for your body to digest. So, and it's very easy to digest, so your body isn't like in the beginning of your day trying to process, eggs and cheese and all these kinds of things. So that was something I started doing a long time ago. But also just some days I just don't have that either until noon. I usually don't have anything to eat until 11 or 12, basically. Okay. And that's just because when I'm praying and I'm focused and everything, I just don't want to be distracted. Right. And the tea is like my breakfast, I guess.
Oh, very good. And in terms of when you're eating and just how you start your day, how have you found like these routines, the yoga, the writing, the journaling, and the eating, the drinking of the tea, how have you found that this has like affected your day?
It's kind of funny because I don't really, it's been so long since I've been doing it that it's like, that's just, it'd be kind of like, it almost feels like being asked, like, how does it affect your day when you brush your teeth in the morning? Do you know what I mean? Because it's such a part of my life. Right. But yeah, I think, again, that the food part affects me. I mean, again, I don't recommend going forever with just drinking tea, because after a while, if you have blood sugar things going on. Right. But I feel like the prayer and journaling and reading scripture, reading devotional books, reading things that are uplifting are really the most important thing for me. If I didn't do any of the other stuff, that would still be priority. But I first stretch my body out with yoga just to get my body set up for my brain.
I love that. I feel like I'm getting to know you all over again. And I've known you for quite some time now.
Yeah. So how about you?
Well, I start my day, I actually wake up specifically at 5:50 a.m. I don't know why I chose that time, but I think I do. I think I chose 5:50 because essentially I want to be up by 6 in the morning. I'm not one that believes in, snoozing. I don't believe in snoozing just because I just feel like it's a tease. And so once the alarm goes off for me, I'm up. So I, use the toilet. Sorry, that's a lot of information for those of you who are listening, but this is just literally why I wake up at 5:50 so that I can use the bathroom. And then I actually start exercising. Once I get back into my space, I tend to do 30 minutes of exercise. It's just, I like to dance. That's my form of exercising. I love dancing. So, I generally, I do a lot of, Britney Spears, Janet Jackson,
Rhythm Nation?
Well, not Rhythm Nation, but, it's all for you. You really want it. That's Janet Jackson. And I do that routine, and I do two Britney songs. This is a lot of information. You don't need to know. You don't need to know all of that. Exactly. You don't need to know all of that. So yeah, I dance in the morning for like 30 minutes, and then I go in the shower and I do like praise and worship during my bathroom time. And then I listen to scripture. I do like an audio Bible. And then sometimes I listen to sermons. Shout out Michael Todd from Transformation Church. In terms of what's the first thing, I actually do drink like lemon water in the morning as well. Usually,
because you seemed so surprised about when I was trying.
Well,
She was pretending like that was like
well,
a really
you know what it was. I was just curious for your reasonings behind it. So I do it as well. I do it like I drink it quickly before I hop into the shower. Like it's just a really quick like swig, like a cup or whatever. And then when I'm out, like if I don't, no, I don't go to the grocery store right away. I actually make a smoothie. I make a smoothie. And my smoothies nowadays are a lot more simple. It's just like really bananas and frozen strawberries. But once upon a time, it used to be like cucumbers, carrots, and spinach and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I'm just, I've just kind of, yeah. I mean, not to say that I wouldn't do that again, but this is where I'm at right now. And yeah, and so that's pretty much how I start my day. And in terms of, to be honest, I have to get better at writing. I used to write a lot, like in terms of journaling, more so towards the end of last year and the beginning of this year. And I fell off on that, but I need to pick that back up because that's really important. However, I am excited that I started reading more, which has given me the opportunity to cut out social media. Like I'm not on Instagram, and you guys don't even understand the deliverance that this is. So I'm not on Instagram as much, and like I'm not completely delivered. I mean, I still occasionally go on there, but reading has allowed me the opportunity to kind of like focus, change my focus, which is really important.
Yay!
So yeah, so that's basically our ways of. I don't know. Is there something else?
I just wanted to mention in terms of food,
yes,
because it's
your smoothie bowls.
Well, yeah, and I'm actually going to paste we're going to put in the link below. I'll put a link about the recipe I use. It's kind of but anyway, it's just packed with. If I could tell everybody, if you do nothing else, to get a green drink mix, you just put a scoop of this green drink in. It's basically, it's high alkaline, it's raw, it's vegan, it's completely plant-based, it's just joy to your body. And it's basically all the nutrients from all these amazing vegetables and fruits and like wheatgrass and barley grass and all these things. And it's just packed. So if you didn't eat any veggies that day, you could just have a scoop of this still. And it just has so many nutrients in it. And
what is it called?
Well, they have so many different brands. The brand I started with was called Amazing Grass. But it's just amazing, and it helps everything in your body. Yes, it is. But it helps everything in your body. Everything from your energy to your digestion.
Wow.
Everything.
You can get that on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, and if you're in Germany, there's a version you can get. It's like a German version called Grüne Mutter.
Ooh,
Green Mother.
Green. Ooh, Grüne Mutter.
Yeah.
Oh, I tried.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, but just eating plant-based you don't feel weighed down. You don't feel. I mean, I will say, just because someone's vegan doesn't mean they're healthy. They eat healthy because you could eat French fries and cupcakes all day that are vegan, but that doesn't mean they're healthy. So it really is about being mindful about what's going in your system and how hard it is for your body to process a lot of food, different processed foods especially. So the more raw and the more alkaline that you can eat, the better off you are.
It's so true. I mean, for the longest time, because I became a vegan. Well, I became what I like to call a vegan in 2015, and then only I think officially last year, 2019, the end of 2019, I officially became a vegan. A vegan is basically a fake vegan or a vegan who eats fish. But I didn't do eggs. I didn't do dairy, and so. But then I completely became vegan. But it's funny because it's so easy to eat crap.
Oh, and it's so easy to eat healthy food. I'm like, yeah. Oh.
No, well, it's so easy to eat crap, but then it's like in the name of veganism. Well, I am a vegan. It's vegan, and it's like, yeah, but it's like you just had like 5 vegan donuts. You know what I mean? So it's like, so I have recently as in last year, October of last year. Was it October of last year? Oh,
I think so.
Goodness. I cut out sugar, you guys. And I have to say, Mo's been a complete influence in terms of like my eating habits and how I've changed the way I eat. So I would like to thank you very much. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Mo, so much for that. And she will definitely be posting this green mix as well as some recipes for her smoothie bowl.
Yeah, and just I'll say a few more things I want to say about the food thing is I can tell you for just, I mean, I've written a blog about it, but like how eating high alkaline literally changed my life, how I was incredibly sick at one point. I had fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue. You just don't even know the misery I was in. Mm-hmm. Also, I was in a very traumatic time in my life. So there's so many things that play into our health that a lot of times we think it just has to do with, fitness or food, but stress, trauma, any kinds of things that, the things that you're watching or taking into your psyche. But I was already eating vegan, but I was not healthy. And it was when I learned how to eat high alkaline, how I learned how much energy there is in certain foods and how certain foods are superfoods. So raw cacao, which is basically chocolate in its raw form, not the stuff you buy in the Milka bar or whatever it's,
Right.
or the Hershey bar or wherever you are, Mars bar in England. It's basically, it's the higher the alkaline in a food, the more energy it will give you. And the more it's keeping your body in an alkaline state, which means our bodies are 70% water or about. And so to keep our bodies alkalized is so important. And so many diseases come from our bodies not being alkalized.
Wow.
But again, it's not just about the food. It's about what's going on in your life. How are you processing information? How are you dealing with stress and anxiety and things like that? And I know from my own story that a part of why I was really unhealthy was because of the way I wasn't eating maybe as healthy as I could, but it was also because of the situations that I had allowed into my life and the trauma that I was going through, and I didn't know at the time like how to process that. And but as you change like your whole thinking, as you just renew your mind, it's amazing how your entire life, your body will be affected.
So true.
And something Paige and I talk about a lot is the power of our words.
Oh my gosh.
One of the things that was a big thing for me was in recent years, because we've been in Berlin for a while, and the weather is not fun here in the winter. And every time it would start to get winter, or what, I would start, as soon as I saw people that were sick, I think we talked about this on another episode, but I would just be like really like fearful of catching what they had, because I used to think that I constantly got sick.
Yeah.
And the reason that I did was because I kept thinking it and I kept saying it.
Yeah.
And I just made a decision, I'm going to stop saying that, and I'm going to start saying the opposite to myself. So even on days when I would feel not feeling that great, I would just be giving thanks for my incredible health, and I would say the exact opposite of what I was feeling, and I would just keep saying, I'm so grateful for my amazing immune system. And can I just tell you, in the last 2 years, year and a half to 2 years, I have not gotten sick.
Oh my gosh, it's so amazing.
And I used to get sick like literally every other month.
Wow. And it's such a blessing, because I will be honest and say, I think, for a while, I would like take my health for granted, because I am just not a sickly person. Like I generally, when I would take off from work, it would just be to go on vacation, but I never took sick days because I just don't get sick. So
I remember that about you, but I also remember I would always think, but you always keep saying you don't get sick, so you don't get sick.
That's so true. I say it all the time, and it's just like, even like I never would get nervous when people would be sick around me, like people have colds and everything, and usually, get away from me, don't give it to me. I never said things like that, because it's just kind of like, well, if anything, if you stand close enough to me, maybe you'll get healed.
Ooh, I like that.
But yeah, so I don't know. I think I never even thought about that, Mo. That's really funny. funny. It's just because I generally say I don't get sick. I'm just not a sickly person.
Yeah. And actually knowing that about you is like, I had that in my mind. I would be like, well, she never gets sick, and she always says she never gets sick. And there's other people I know, a couple from my church that, you know, I remember they would say, yeah, we don't get sick. And I'm like, how does that work? And then I realized, well, yeah, you keep saying you don't.
Wow, that's so interesting. I never even thought about, and that's so interesting, and this is probably where we'll wind down, but this is so interesting because usually it feels, I'm not going to say it feels so much easier to go the negative route in terms of like, you know, because I never even considered the reason why I don't get sick is because I generally say I don't get sick. I never factored that in until you said this just now.
So it's kind of like the chicken or the egg thing. It's like, well, did you just not ever get sick and then you said it a lot? Or
right.
It's like, you know, so I don't know. Yeah. I just know for me, I just have seen a significant switch.
Yeah.
When I think about like, I used to have all this anxiety around the weather and all these things, and now I'm just like, well, it's raining, it's cold, it's whatever, but I'm strong and my immune. And again, you know, those are things I don't feel like they just happen overnight. I feel like a lot of stuff takes doing something repeatedly, consistently, so your brain starts going, oh, like you're really serious, you don't get sick.
Exactly.
You know.
Wow, I love that. Oh my goodness. But yeah. So essentially, now that I'm more aware of how healthy I am, I'm generally like, I'm so grateful. I literally say out loud how grateful I am for my good health. Yep. But I'm also very, in terms of how I stay and remain healthy, is based on what I watch, especially with everything that's going on right now. Like, I'm definitely, you know, there's important, obviously, to be sensitive towards a lot of the situations and everything. But I can't handle, like, there's only but so much I can take in. So I intentionally do not go on looking at things because it's like you're bombarded. So it's like in fact, I actually seek out things that I know are going to make me happy. Some of you guys probably already know about it. John Krasinski from The Office. He has this YouTube show called Some Good News, and there are also other links as well, though, that Mo can tell you about. But I absolutely love this show, and it's new. It came about during quarantine, and I just really enjoy being happy. Like, it's really nice to laugh and again, but not be like, I'm aware of life and what's going on. However, I cannot allow what's currently happening to have so much of effect on me that it totally paralyzes me, you know, because I have had situations, even as of recently, where I started to get a bit discouraged, and I was like, wait, and I had to like ask myself, okay, why is this happening? And you know, and of course one could probably say, okay, there is like a line between like being in denial and being, you know, but I think it's also about being responsible, you know, and as I said, I'm a healthy person. I'm generally in good spirits, and how do I maintain that? It's like I have to take inventory as to what I'm taking in, you know, and so yeah, and that's another reason why I've started to cut down on Instagram, because, you know, I just know the things that for me don't necessarily work, and just like watching people and maybe comparing myself and just like thinking, oh my gosh, they're doing so much better in terms of business and where they're at and stuff like that. And at the same time, also understanding that that's probably just the presentation that they're giving me. But like, of course, I can only in my mind think, oh, well, maybe it's really not like that. But no, that's not what they're presenting. So I have to then step back and just be like, okay, you know what? Let me just do my thing and do what God has given me, like, you know, my gift, and just focus on that and hone in on that, and kind of perfect that before I can even like look and kind of, because I want to be a creative. This is a lot, but I was watching this YouTube guy, and he said the thing about creatives is like creatives tend to, we can't look at anything and just like appreciate it. We have to like compare. Oh, they're doing so much. Oh, that's really smart. I didn't even think to film it that way, to film in that way. It's like, no, it's like you can look at it as a spectator and just be like, oh, that's really beautiful. But It's hard to do that sometimes as a creator, you know? And so, yeah, it's just kind of, I want to get to that place where I can just appreciate someone's work. And not to say that I don't. There are definitely days that I do that. But in terms of like my specific realm of fashion, sometimes it can be a little more difficult when I see things that people are doing in the fashion world. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so brilliant. It's so beautiful. Why didn't I think of that? And in those situations, I have to step back from and just kind of like, sorry, that was a lot of information. Mo, what about you? What do you do in terms of like, you know, staying healthy mentally, like in terms of what you're taking in?
Well, kind of everything I've already mentioned. And then, well, first of all, I'm not a believer in mainstream media. So I pretty much stay away from that. And, you know, there's a lot of resources out there that are a lot more trustworthy and giving a lot clearer information. And but even with that, just in the same way, I just am working on, you know, it's like there's this balance no matter what your take is on what's currently going on in the world. There's a balance between taking in information and not taking in too much information. So keeping informed without losing your mind, seeing what you're seeing, and really it takes discipline, but it also takes this shifting to like, okay, so what Morris talked about it in the interview with Mo and Morris about figuring out what you can do, what you can't do. And knowing what it is you are meant to be doing and being clear on that. And sometimes it can feel like that changes based on what's going on. And it feels like, wait a minute, but I think that's why it's so important to really live with a sense of purpose. Because, we're each here to do something, to bring something good to the world. And so I find that if I'm starting to feel too overwhelmed with bad information to the point where it's like dragging me down, I've just made a decision that I'm only going to be checking into certain things like once a week. And, and if somebody wants to fill me in on, okay, is what's happening with the quarantine or whatever, that's great. But I don't need to be glued to the television and being brainwashed by what is, being slewn at us at every turn. And I just feel that it's just important to guard our minds and guard our hearts. Also, to keep doing things that are serving and giving to others. However you do that, everybody's doing something different maybe, but to really give of yourself. And it can be really hard to do that when everything is looking really dismal. And that's the very time, there's a quote that says something like, the person asked a master or something like that, like, I am feeling very down, what should I do? And then the answer is go help someone else. And the way to lift ourselves is often to help somebody else. And to if you're feeling down, encourage somebody else. And you start to feel better because you can't help but feel good when you're serving others and helping others and connecting with people. But I really feel like being careful how much information you're taking in, what information you're taking in, and then balancing it with something fun, something uplifting, inspiring. I listen to a lot of sermons and inspirational talks and TED Talks and just anything that's uplifting.
So important. It's all so important. And again, a lot of the stuff, it's usually, to see the best results is to do everything, like combine all of this stuff. It's kind of hard to eat well, but you're not necessarily exercising and you're still like taking in junk and, in terms of what you're watching and all this kind of stuff. But, but then of course there is like not eating junk, but then like, it's just for the best results. Again, it's just to kind of like do everything at once. It's just kind of like when you're exercising. When you exercise and you eat well, it's like you can see better results physically, like your physical appearance, than if you were just exercising and then eating McDonald's every day.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good.
Eating
McDonald's at all.
Exactly.
No, I'm kidding.
Exactly.
Well, I'm not, but
But I think that's all. I mean, of course, we can go on for at least 5 more days. But you know what? Why do that? Why do that? We'll stop right here, and we want to thank you all for taking the time to sit in and listen and join us in this conversation. And please, we do not lie when we ask that you send us, some commentary. Like, let us know your thoughts. Let us know what your diet looks like, what you're eating.
or if you want links to things like that we may have access to that we talked about.
Oh, of course, yes.
We like to share
Yeah,
things that
exactly.
help you.
Exactly. So yeah, and again, just share your regimens and your routines and because we're always open to learning, and we let us know what is up with you. Thank you.
Thank you for listening, guys and ladies, guys.
Yeah,
People, humans, animals,
Yeah,
cats, kittens,
exactly.
puppies.
Oh, cats and kittens and puppies.
We wish you the best and keep healthy, keep strong, and
have a Merry Christmas.
Don't let the bastards get you down.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah. See you guys. Bye.